Good evening. We welcome you all here to the regular meeting of West Valley City Council. We note that we have a quorum present. We excuse Councilmember Fitisimano. I think I got that right. This evening. With that, we will turn to Councilmember Karen Lang for our opening ceremony.
Jake's going to play a video for us that was on the Today Show about a month ago, and it's highlighting one of the founders of one of our really nice businesses in our city that have been here about as long as the city has been here, England Trucking, and this is about Gene, one of the founders.
Coming and doing things as long as I breathe.
Well, today, he's at work doing what he loves most.
You can enjoy this work.
Chatting with future drivers and see our England employees.
I always like to visit with a driver.
You guys taught me to drive a truck too. Gene is probably one of the most friendliest people in the whole world you'll ever meet. It's great.
Gene drove 18 wheelers until he was 90 and loves to inspire the next generation of truckers.
Just be the best you can be.
It's pretty phenomenal, and that he would take time today and come down here and just kind of shake hands with us.
You do the best you can, and that'll be good enough.
When I get 100 years old, I'm gonna walk around and do the same thing he's doing.
CR England was founded by Gene's dad, Chester England, in 1920, when they started moving local dairy and produce to grocery stores.
Whenever I could go with him, that was the greatest day of my life. And I thought, gee, this is what I'd like to do for my life.
At 14 years old, Gene got his driver's license and began driving with his younger brother Bill.
It's a job with adventure.
Gene stopped trucking while he served in World War II, earning a Bronze Star for valor at the Battle of Okinawa. But while away, he was saving money to buy their first big rig.
By the time I arrived home, I had $5,000 saved up to buy that first truck.
From there, the company grew, as did his family. All of his sons went into trucking, and it's now his grandson that is driving the business, which has about 4,000 semis and 7,000 employees.
He talks about one of the secrets of his longevity is to keep working, stay busy.
He's just a get it done sort of guy. And if there's some sort of an obstacle to overcome, there's no letting up until it's overcome.
Watching a 100-year-old in his office almost every day is inspirational to everybody here.
I look at my life now, and it's nothing but a feeling of fun.
So Gene's brother Bill worked with him until a couple of years ago. He passed away at 95 and was still going to work as well. So a good addition to our community.
Thank you. Let's see, we have the approval of our minutes of February 18th.
I move for approval of the February 18th minutes.
Second.
Any comments? Seeing none, then we'll place it for a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes of February 18th, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Passes unanimously. The minutes are approved. Next, we have a recognition here in our city. Bryant Boshard, who was, I think that's correct pronunciation, or close, received a PGA Player Development Award as the head golf professional at the Ridge Golf Club. He was going to be here, but he is leaving West Valley City to take on a new assignment down, where was it? The Bahamas?
Cayman Islands.
Cayman Islands. So all those islands look alike to me. But this was a very significant recognition and was certainly a feather in the cap of not just Bryant, but as well for West Valley City, recognition of the quality of our golf courses and specifically there at the Ridge and the things that they are doing. So, and I didn't look to see what was, is there anything that anyone would like to add to that comment? For, okay, you want me to read the whole thing?
Oh, I don't think we need to read the whole thing. I mean, it's good that we got that recognition and we recognize the city.
Now, this is, the key thing here is, this is not a small award. This is by the PGA. It's a national award, the 2019 PGA Player Development Award. And and he's enjoyed it. He's been in the golf business for 20 years. You know, he's just done a great many things there at the Ridge for leagues for men, women, juniors, veterans. You know, everything they've done has just worked out really well. City is very fortunate to have two great golf courses, and this award reflects some of the quality and excellence of those who are working there. So I know I have my veterans golf tournament at Stonebridge, and they just do an excellent job with that. You know, to have that, I have that each year. So anything else? Okay, next we go to our comment period. We have one person signed up. If everybody signed up, we'd still have time left, I think. So, Mr. Markham?
Okay, Mike Markham. I've already kind of talked to Steve about this, but I sat through the study meeting last week and we talked about basically redoing the theater, the Harmon Theater, whatever, I can't remember what we call it now.
Harmon Hall.
Harmon Hall.
Theater.
Harmon Theater.
Oh, it's Harmon Theater? Okay.
But, you know, the bids were 70,000, $1 million, $1.5 million. In my mind, I think Russ could probably use the $1.5 million better replacing sidewalks and gutters and some of the lawsuits that we've got. I just think there's a better place. I don't know, you know, I know you've already voted you want a theater here, but why? Why do we need a theater here? I know it brings people in, or it used to bring people in. You know, if we can get the Shakespeare people in here, it may do something. But for that kind of money, I think the city could put it into a better use, or to recoup some of that money, go after the Hale people that trashed the place when they pulled out. You know, I remember not too long ago that we had to go in and rebuild the stage just before they left. So it's something that has been a continual issue. I don't know if the city's ever made money on it. And, you know, granted, I'm a guy that thinks if you have a function, you need to make money on it. Nobody works for free, except for, you know, the city doesn't have money, they have the taxpayers' money. And I think there's a better way to spend the taxpayers' money than spending $1.5 million to redo a theater when we've got them popping up all around us. How many people are going to go to the theater? How many people are going to pay the prices? I just think we need to maybe look at that. That's a lot of money that the city could put someplace else. And so maybe next year, if we need a little tax increase, that might be the first year I speak up and say, we don't need a tax increase if we can spend money doing stuff like that. Another thing I'd like to bring up quick in 2 words about the food trucks. Generator noise. If we're going to have a concert, you can't have generators running up and down Market Street. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Guess she's not going to speak. Okay. Mr. Pyle, any comments?
No, sir, thanks.
Council? I would just mention, this is an issue that Mr. Markham brought up that often comes up. And technically speaking, you could say government only does certain functions and stick with those. But the public has demanded, literally, that we also involve ourselves in quality of life issues, such as golf courses, such as a theater. And were we to not do that, whether it's right or wrong, the public supports those efforts and in many cases demands it. It's kind of like parks. Parks never pay back anything, literally, but they still demand the parks. And so these quality of life issues, and it's always a challenge to say, what's the right balance? What's the right balance? When I first came to the city, there were some issues I looked at to say, should we be in that business? And the question was essentially moot because we were already there, and to cut it off would do more damage than good. And so those are the challenges elected officials face sometimes, is to make those decisions and do the best we can. And on every single one of them, there will be people who will laud us and people who will criticize. But you're right. We need to oftentimes refocus on our basic fundamental issues, which we try and do. Well, thank you. We do have a few items on our agenda tonight. We'll begin with a public hearing on application SA-8 2019, associated with ordinance 20-12, filed by the city. Final plat approval for the Begley Estates subdivision at 2590 South, 7050 West. And this is an ongoing issue that we've been working on for quite a while there. We're amending some of those lots. There were at least one that we had to purchase outright. There were others. Oh.
Your time's up, man.
Boy, if I don't speak, maybe no one will speak. But there were some changes made. A number of properties were realigned where in order to extend the road and to move the trail from one side of the road to the other to accommodate an appropriate, if you will, street through there to tie into our industrial center, just a little bit to the east of that, which needed to be done. There wasn't a way around that in order to make reasonable intersections and to get traffic onto and off of the 201. So that is the issue, to make those changes and have this final plat approval. With that then, anything else ought to be added to that before we open it for public comment? Okay, then we'll open it up for public comment. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Seeing none, we'll close public comment and bring it back to the council.
Move for approval of ordinance 20-12.
Second. Properly before us. Any further comments? Seeing none, to our city recorder then for the required roll call vote.
Councilwoman Ling?
Yes.
Councilman Bueller?
Aye.
Councilman Hune?
Aye.
Councilman Christensen?
Yes.
Councilman Nordfeld?
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next we go to our resolutions. We have resolution 20-21. This is to approve an interlocal cooperative agreement between our city and Salt Lake County for the acquisition of the swimming pool at Centennial Park. We will put out $197,000 with that, but that will be offset with revenues that will come in. This pool is the one that is located there by the Family Fitness Center. it's to the south of the Family Fitness Center across the parking lot, I guess we would say. And by virtue of we're there already and being able to manage that in conjunction with the others made a lot of sense. So the discussion was held with the county, and we'll just include that with the staff that we have. We may need to have a few more there, but it fits in very nicely with what we're already doing. So that is the issue before us. To the council for any additional comments, explanation, or motions.
Move for approval of Resolution 20-21.
Second.
Before us, anything else? To our city recorder.
Councilman Nordfeld?
Yes.
Councilman Christensen?
Yes.
Councilman Hume?
Aye.
Councilman Bueller?
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang?
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next, we have Resolution 20-22. This is to authorize the purchase of 4 what are called overt activity suppression pole camera kits for a total of $43,940. These will be placed along the Parkway Trail system where areas have been identified. These will be interactive where there will be video recordings, but it can also go the other direction as well to speak, transmit, our officers' comments to people who are there. These are areas where they've had some issues with drinking or gambling, loitering, things like that, and this has been a proven process in other locations to assist in reducing crime in those locations. And so this will increase public safety and be more efficient for public safety officers to keep an eye on those locations. That is the issue before us. To the council.
I would move for approval of Resolution 20-22.
Second.
Properly before us. No further comments. Then to our city recorder.
Councilwoman Lang?
Yes.
Councilman Bueller?
Aye.
Councilman Hume?
Aye.
Councilman Christensen?
Yes.
Councilman Nordfeld?
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next, we have application SD-1 2019 filed by the city requesting final, let's see if I got that right, final plat approval for the, excuse me, the Begley Road dedication plat. This is at 2540 South over on 6755 West to 7000 West. And so this is just in conjunction with other work we're finishing up there to have that dedicated again in that same road that we had before. With that introduction then to the council.
Move for approval of application SD-1-2019.
Second.
Properly for us. Any further comments? Seeing none. City recorder.
Councilman Nordfeld?
Yes.
Councilman Christensen?
Yes.
Councilman Hume?
Aye.
Councilman Bueller?
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang?
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, next we have resolution 20-23. This is a slope easement. And I didn't have the location. Oh, there, 2540 South. No, wait a minute. Here we go. And I'm still not getting, I'm calling up the wrong thing. I was just going to include the address there. I can't, there, finally I got it to work. Get on the road. I kept opening the wrong one. This is the east end of Hightower Road, which is at 6310 South. This will be, as I recall, temporary. We need it now in order to control the runoff that will come down on the road, and this will prevent it from undermining the road. Once the subdivision is completed and the road is extended, then it will no longer be needed. It'll be taken care of at that point. That's the issue before us to the council.
Move for approval of Resolution 20-23.
Second.
To our city recorder for the vote.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilman Hume, Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Okay. Then next we have Resolution 20-24, awarding a contract to KGV Construction for construction of a bridge on Anna Caroline Drive. This is over there by Winco, west of 5600 West. The road is being completed on the other side. We've intended to do this for a long time. We knew it would come, and so we will be doing that. $618,000 from our Class C road funds and the transportation sales tax. The winning bid there was $561,416. But this will connect those two roadways and connect it to 2400 South to Parkway Boulevard at approximately 5700 West. And so going to be interesting. It was because it goes over the canal there. That's the purpose of the bridge, and so there will be some interesting dynamics in getting that completed. Although the canal will be dry for approximately 30 days. That's the issue. This is an exception to our normal process where we review it and ask questions the week before, but because of timing constraints and to meet that 30-day dry time to help with the construction, we need to act on it quickly. We discussed it earlier this evening in our study meeting, but we need to take final action tonight. That's the issue before us to the council.
Move for approval of Resolution 20-24.
Second.
Properly before us, any further comments? Okay, to our city recorder.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hume,
Aye.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. There is no need for a closed session. We don't have any business there. That completes our regular city council meeting. We do have a couple of special meetings right after this briefly to take care of a couple more items. Councilman Bueller.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to make a note that we will not be meeting next week.
That is correct. Thank you for bringing that up. There will be no council meetings next week due to the associated with the elections, the party caucuses that will be held, which we hope that everyone will follow our example and attend those so that there's lots of people there to participate in our government. With that then,
Motion to adjourn.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Our regular city council meeting is adjourned.
Would like to call to order the special meeting of the RDA. Note that all members of the RDA are in attendance except member Fitisumana, who is excused. We've had our opening ceremony, and first item of business is the approval of our minutes of February 18th.
I move for approval of our February 18th minutes.
Second?
Properly before us. Any discussion? All in favor of the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We have one resolution tonight, Resolution 20-03. Mr. Pyle, were you going to explain that, or one of the staff?
Sure, sir, I can do that. So the one item before you this evening is a proposal to purchase property at 2574 West Redwood Road. So this
South Redwood Road.
Thank you. So this is a...
It appeared as both addresses on our packet.
Did I say west?
Yeah.
Oh, I just read it right off there. Okay, thank you. Yes, south. Anyway, this property is currently vacant, and the proposal and the reason why we're proposing acquiring it is for future development in a larger aggregate area there in the Redwood, Lake Park, Redwood area. The purchase price is $230,516 would come out of RDA funds.
Okay, thank you very much. To the agency.
I move for approval, resolution 20-03.
Second?
Okay, it's properly before us. Any discussion? Ms. Kamak, you're the only one that can get a word out of these people tonight.
Ms. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Bueller,
Aye.
Mr. Hume,
Aye.
Mr. Bigelow, Mr. Norfelt,
Yes.
and Chairman Christensen.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. One more motion.
Motion to adjourn?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.
Call to order the special meeting of the Housing Authority. Note that we've had an opening ceremony. All members are present, other than Mr. Fatisi-Manu, who is absent. We have the first item of business, approval of the minutes of January 7th, 2020.
Move for approval of the minutes of January 7th.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Appears to have passed unanimously. We have our first resolution of the year, 2001. Mr. Powell, would you introduce that, please?
Yes, thank you, sir. So we have before you consideration for purchase of 2 residential properties. These happen to be 4plexes over in the Lake Park area, which we are starting and proposing to assemble for larger development in the future, as was mentioned in the previous item of the redevelopment agency meeting. So these 2 properties are 1739 West and 1755 West Lake Park Drive, and would be purchased for $850,000. As I mentioned, in the future, we plan on assembling these into a larger redevelopment project over time, but in the short term, we can either rent them or assess how we want to use the properties in the short.
This is the same area, same plan, same project, different funding sources,
Yeah.
right? And we have before us resolution 20-01.
Move for approval of resolution 20-01.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamek, would you please ask for the vote?
Mr. Norfelt,
Yes.
Mr. Christensen,
Yes.
Mr. Bigelow,
Aye.
Mr. Hume,
Aye.
Ms. Lang,
Yes.
and Chairman Bueller.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
That concludes our business.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.